today is Transformation Day, and the group is in really high spirits today. They seem very joyful and chirpy, and we're just about to jump into practice and then meditation. And we're going to do some really powerful exercises which will help them shift. If there's anything in the way for them, using the tools of yoga, philosophy, and transformation. So that they can leave these 3 days with a tangible and kind of like measurable impact into their lives. Sometimes some people experience the shift straight away during the program. Other times, seeds are planted, weeds are pulled out of the mind, and they go back into their lives, and things just start to open up and happen for them. Days and weeks and months after. Quite a few of them seem to be quite keen to sign up to the teacher training that we're going to be doing here in Yoga Squad in May, June. So I think the energy is actually really starting to build up with the group that's signing up here, and I think it's going to be a phenomenal program. The space here is beautiful. It's a great listed building. By the canal there's a castle here. It's kind of like fairy tale location. Seems like somehow we just have magical locations these days wherever we do our trainings, but this is beautiful if I was to do it somewhere in the UK. So from a venue point of view, it's super cool. In the program, obviously it's life transforming. It's our most passionate of all programs, the teacher training program, where we get to delve in here. The city version will be done in 5 weeks, spread over 5 weeks. So truly is life changing, life transforming, and the results have been beyond my imagination, what people have been able to create in their lives. People have opened studios like this, created charities, they travel around the world, they teach in retreats. They have a dream of traveling around, and suddenly they've got yoga teaching to pay for it, to fund their travels. And all sorts of amazing cool things that I just never imagined when I created this training. So it really is humbling and an absolute honor and privilege, to be the kind of conduit, the facilitator for all of the magic to happen. So yeah, really excited. In days like this, you can just see the potential of the people that are here in the program, and some months from now, and when they've done the trainings, some months and some years from now, I get the privilege of actually getting the email, getting the message when they say, oh hey, you wouldn't guess what just happened. I've just signed the lease to my first studio, or we've just had our first baby, or I found the love of my life, or amazing things beyond just yoga is possible when you shift what's actually blocking you internally. So it's super cool. It's really cool to be here, and you can just feel the potential of it is palpable.
Hello.
Let's practice. What are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Fall forwards, exhale. Flat back, inhale. High plank to low plank, exhale. Up dog or cobra, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Breath in. Breath out. Big breath in. Breathe out. Soften. So the inhale and exhale, if you're really putting a lot of pressure at the nostrils, soften the breath. Just because it's deep doesn't mean you need to force it. I think I was saying in class last night, if you have your nostrils set to vacuum, turn it off. Right, the breath can still be deep, but you can also be relaxed at the nostrils. Soften up around the tops of the shoulders. Take another big breath in. Breathe it out. And look forwards and step or float to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fall forwards. Rise up, sweep your arms up. Fall forwards from the hips. Flat back, inhale. High plank, low to low plank, exhale. Up dog or cobra, squeeze shoulder blades back and down. Downward facing dog, exhale. Breath in. Breath out. And then now, when you're collapsing, so if you're pressing down into your wrist and you're collapsing into the outer edge or the inner arch, then point. So turn to point the fingers more forwards and shift the weight down into thumb and index knuckles so you're not resting on the little finger sides. Because then eventually you're just going to compress the bones and, it's not good. Good. Keep softening up around tops of shoulders. Take another breath in. Soften here. Breathe out. And look forwards and step or float to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Full forwards, exhale. Chair pose. Bend your knees. Sit the hips down and reach your arms up. Or you can interlace fingers behind the back. Now if you're dipping into the lower back and rounding out into your lower back, which kind of happens because that's just the natural curve of the spine, draw the lower belly in and reach, squeeze the sit bones down towards the ground so you get more space around the lower spine, where we looked at in the skeleton yesterday in L5 and top of sacrum. So you're not continuously, consistently compressing and jamming into that part, that joint, but rather creating more space. Turn up the breath. And as you inhale, rise up to stand and hands to your heart in prayer. Inhale, sweep your arms up, traditional suns. Exhale, full forwards. Step the left leg back into lunge. Pad up the knee, arms up or to your thigh. Breathe in. Hands to the floor, high plank, low to low plank. Up dog or cobra, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Step the left foot forwards, lunge, breathe in. Step forwards, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, lift the toes. Exhale, hands to your heart. Arms up, inhale. How far and wide reaching does this infinite space go? Feel into it. Exactly. Yeah. Careful what you say. Yeah. Careful what you think. Yeah. You're more powerful than you think you are. So, like I have a practice where I always catch myself out. Yeah. Whenever I say things that I'm like, whoa, I don't want that to manifest, I'm like, cancel that thought, universe. Yeah. And then I'll correct it.
Yeah. It is the law of attraction and the way your word feels. And then when people ask you, how do you feel? You're like, oh my God, how do I say it without attracting it? Go around it. Don't use those words.
No, even this, it's hard, because I've read law of attraction, but it's hard putting it into practice, because it's like, you can't be negative ever.
Well, you can, but the negative doesn't manifest as quickly as higher vibration. The lower, heavier vibration always takes more time. So we had to kind of slow down in density and become, particles and atoms, right? So with this like physical matter, which then is in this reality where there's time and space. But actually, we still are an energetic being as well. So when you raise, so can't stop talking about this stuff. When you raise your vibration and you're at like a higher vibration, like let's say love or joy and things like that, that's why when you're in those vibrations, you can manifest much quicker and more instantly. Whereas if you're in like heavier, darker emotions, it takes much longer to manifest anything. And also, if you're thinking those kinds of thoughts, generally it takes more time for it to manifest anyway. So you can actually, shift it. Anyway, I can go on about it.
I think the more intense you get with yourself, the less negative thoughts you have anyway, don't you?
Yeah. It's really raising put simply, it's raising our vibration back to the true nature of who we are, which is raising our vibration back to become love. Essentially that's what oneness is to understand that we are not separate. It's you don't need fear. Like fear doesn't have to be there because who you are is already love. Does that make sense? So it's coming out of the illusion of separation and back into the state of oneness. And there are many ways to access that. Meditation is just one of it. Yoga practice is one of it. Now, some of you may have done this exercise because initially it was in this program and then I brought it to awaken, but you can actually do it for another thing. So if you've done this one with me before, then choose a different area. Now I'd like you to grab pen and paper, and you'll be writing. How many of you would like to learn some tools to free you? Let's say, if there's something that you're struggling or suffering with or have been, like to free you from that struggle or the suffering.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Maybe? Okay. So you can use it, on multiple things, but we're just going to focus on one thing. And actually, let's focus on something where you have most suffering in. So if you've done one before on a certain area, and if that's resolved, then you can choose the next winner. Right? Where there's most suffering in your life. Imagine if the thing that you're suffering with the most, suddenly the suffering is gone. How would that feel? Pretty good, right? Why not? Are you up for it?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll give it to you in parts. The first part is about why you're thinking about teacher training. We talked about the outcomes, the results that you'd like to get, and then we looked back and reverse engineered what a training could have or should have for you to reach that result. Now, let's say you found a training and it's the perfect fit. Sometimes in life, when we set out to do something new, inevitably, with most things, life throws us little challenges, some obstacles, and let's actually preempt that and prepare for that now. Why not? Right? And just look at how you could deal with that. So the next question I have for you, it's actually in two parts. I'll give you the first part, is what are some of the obstacles that maybe you are already aware of in you signing up? Let's say you found the right teacher training for you now, today. Maybe it's this one, maybe it's another one. What are some of the obstacles that you are already aware of? Like, you need to go and talk to your boss and get some time off. You need to find the money. You need to, right? You need to, I don't know, rearrange your childcare. Whatever, I don't know. So write down any and as many obstacles that you are already aware of. What are they? And then if you've already got all the obstacles that you can think of down, brainstorm and come up with some ideas, some thoughts on possible solutions. Right? And as you're writing this, sometimes the mind would like to have it say, and say, oh, that's ridiculous, oh, that's crazy, no, you can't, that's not going to work. Just let the mind say what it's saying, and you just come up with the most so-called ridiculous ideas, because sometimes when you write them down, a combination of them might actually be the solution. Never know. But get the pen to paper, don't just sit and think. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. And by the way, the reason I'm asking this question and asking for people to share is because you might find, I know you've already shared one person, you might find there's a lot of similarities between the reasons and why people are looking for teacher training. So let's hear a few more. If anyone's okay with sharing with theirs, why are you considering it? Why are you thinking about teacher training? What's your reason? By the way, there's no right or wrong answer, it's just your answer. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. He said some really important things which I want to come back to. He talked about making a decision and obstacles and things like that. Maybe let's talk a little bit about obstacles. What are some of the obstacles that, just call them out. What are some of the obstacles that you're facing right now? Anyone? Money. Money, time. Pardon? Giving birth. Okay. Some would call that a gift. Okay. Yeah. So money, time, having a baby right now, or soon. Anything else?
mind.
Okay, so you found that your mind likes to make some excuses. That's honest, right? So I don't know about you, but when I do those kinds of exercises, when I'm looking at obstacles, and actually really boil it down. And by the way, this could be very different for you, because that could be some certain situations that maybe are unmovable. But when I've looked at certain things, when I've really wanted to do them, it comes down normally to making some kind of a decision. And for me personally, I found that the thing that took me the longest, which I've worked on not being long anymore, is coming to a decision. And a lot of times I find that with people as well, because I've had these kinds of conversations many times with lots of groups and lots of people. One thing can be coming to a decision, making a decision. And until we make a decision, there's this kind of like gray zone where we're in this zone of indecision, where it's not this way, it's not that way yet. So my recommendation is, if you find a training, and if it's this one or if it's another one, when you find a training that feels right for you, that really you feel like, yeah, this is it, I want to do it, my recommendation to you would be, make a decision. Make a decision, because once you make a decision, see, life does this thing where it kind of waits for you. We do this thing sometimes where we go, I'm going to wait for this or that to line up. And we're going to wait for life to line the pins up. But actually, life's kind of waiting for you. Did you ever notice that from maybe other experiences that you've had in your life? And then when you make that decision, life goes along and supports it and opens doors and lines things up then. But we kind of do this thing sometimes as human beings where we say, no, you go first, life. And life goes, well, no, you have to go first. Right? And then when you make that first step, and the first step is normally making a decision. Our kind of biggest form of marketing, if you want to know, our marketing strategy, is that when you come into the training, every single piece is put together so that you have the most amazing, life-transforming experience. Right? We want you to have such a phenomenal experience that when you finish the training and you leave the training, you can't shut up about it. You just want to tell everyone because it was so amazing and it's impacted you so deeply that you just want to go and share it. Right? Do you ever notice that? How when you have something really good or great, you just want to share it. Right? Because you have a lot of it. Why not? You're abundant in it. So that's kind of what normally happens with our graduates as well, and I'm just humbled by like what amazing things they've created. I mean, this is an example, this place here, and there's many different examples of amazing things that they've been able to create in their lives, and beyond my imagination. So that's been a pleasure of mine, just kind of observing, watching our graduates and their success stories. That kind of lights me up, watching them succeed. So anyway, you came here for some information, and I'll make sure that I give you the information before you leave today. But let me just ask you, because there's a lot of stuff that I can share, and maybe there's certain specific things that you're after today. So just so I can make sure that we cover it for you today before you leave, what are some questions that you have, that you come here with? And so I may not answer it all now, but I'll make sure that by the end of the session we'll cover
If you
them.
don't know me, I'm Caroline. So my experience with the training was
Tell us about you and this place.
me in this place.
Who are you?
I'm Caroline and I'm the owner of Yoga Squad. There you go. So Newark's Yoga Studio. So my journey into the teacher training wasn't your stereotypical journey. So I wasn't someone that practiced yoga for many years. And for the guys that know me, I work in many gyms and I manage lots and lots of instructors. So I run lots of group exercise program in some of their big health clubs. And my reason for going on the teacher training was not your stereotypical reason. So as a manager of lots of instructors, I found that I had quite a few problems with the reliability and the consistency of yoga teachers within the club. And yoga wasn't something that I enjoyed doing at the time. And for me, the reason I went on the training was I thought that I've qualified in lots and lots of different things from a fitness point of view.
We will send you the 20-minute video and actually a summary of the offer that I've just made. We'll put it in an email with the links. But really all you need to do is go onto the website, the Dylan Ayaloo website, teacher training page, scroll down, there's the thing with the application form, fill that in, and that starts the ball rolling. Cool? Thank you very much. See you soon.